everything now is treated more and more like a professional broadcast. When you get to the highest level of college volleyball, everything is pro. From the people who work on the show behind the scenes to the broadcasters, it is at the same level as, I would say, you put on a Major League Baseball broadcast. The top producers, the talent, everything is at that level now.
The history of the modern era of volleyball begins in the 1960s. The 60s laid the foundation for the future of youth volleyball in America. The women's net was lowered to where it is today at 7 feet 4 inches. Fran Plunkett and Jerry Kaluna were instrumental in planning the first Women's Region 12 tournament, which was the first major competition featuring teams from California, Nevada, and Utah.
This is in the 60s, right? So the top players at the time were playing, and as little kids, they were, to us, they were bigger than life, the guys that were playing. When they had tournaments in the 60s and into the 70s with no sponsors, no television, just people knowing the event was going to happen, they come down to the beach and watch. There'd be thousands of people watching, and it was a big, big deal for the beach communities to see the players play.
The 80s marked a transformative time in the rules for volleyball. Rally scoring was introduced, which meant a point was scored on every rally, no matter which team served. Doubles were allowed on serve-receive, and it became illegal to block a serve. Those three rules remain in the game today. The biggest headline of the 80s was the emergence of Karch Kiraly, who is the most successful American volleyball player of all time. After a historic career at UCLA, Kiraly dominated on the international level, winning 2 gold medals before switching to the beach side, where he dominated some more.
When I was a senior at UCLA, he came into UCLA as a freshman. And he was a skinny kid, but he was very, very talented. And that year at UCLA, 1979, we actually ran a 6-2 and set opposite each other. And hit also, and we ended up going undefeated and winning the championships. Right from there, Karch and I went out to the beach right after, that was over, and we started playing on the beach together, and we were extremely successful. And when you have two like-minded people on the court with the same kind of level of intensity and great skills, it makes it so easy to play. You don't have to worry about your partner.
Karch won 3 championships as a player and 1 as an assistant coach. And we only lost 5 matches while Karch played for us. So yeah, I could see he was special.
At the turn of the century, a couple more rules were introduced and beach volleyball took off as an Olympic sport. Karch won the first gold medal in Olympic beach volleyball history in Atlanta before going on to win 148 tournaments. Karch is the winningest beach player of all time.
Out of UCLA from East Beach in Santa Barbara, a 3-time gold medalist. You are the greatest player of all time, Karch Kiraly.
He's the best player I ever coached, and when he was playing, he was the best player I ever saw. And the International Volleyball Federation voted him the best player of the last 100 years.
The 2010s marked the beginning of NCAA volleyball prominence. The level of competition rose, and the attendance followed suit. Russ Rose won 3 national championships for Penn State, where Haley Washington emerged as a popular All-American. Only 5 schools won a natty this decade.
Off the tape and the ace to end it. And the dynasty continues in Happy Valley with a record 7th NCAA crown.
On the men's side, only 6 teams won a national championship, with teams going back-to-back for a string of 12 years. The teams who dominated in recruiting were able to cash in on multiple natties. In the NIL era of college volleyball, star players have been able to pocket a pretty penny. Schools began marketing their athletes as individual brands, where Nebraska players became celebrities on campus. Harper Murray, the most popular college volleyball player, after her senior season this year, she is rumored to possibly get $1 million contract from one of the major American pro leagues. Volleyball Day in Nebraska, designed by the legendary John Cook, broke a record for the highest attended women's sporting event of all time. Nebraska played Omaha in Memorial Stadium in front of almost 100,000 people.
Being on that stage and how they handled it, how they handled the pep rally, interacting with those kids, and that was a long day for us. They sensed the moment being a role model and how many young girls they were going to impact.
Ladies and gentlemen, here come your Nebraska Cornhuskers!
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner.
It's a record setter in Nebraska. It's a record setter for women's sports.
I haven't seen something like that in a long time.
Talk about big red indeed. It was just a sea of red.
And a big record for women's sports attendance.
It's not a Taylor Swift concert with Beyonce. That was the girls' volleyball team.
American professional volleyball leagues have taken off in the past 5 years. LOVB has a grassroots foundation that sets it up for sustained success, while MLV is trying to keep up. MLV signed major players this offseason, such as former Nebraska Cornhuskers Allie Check and Layla Blackwell. Madison Skinner won 3 national championships and has won the first 2 Love championships. Skinner will look to compete for Team USA in 2028.
Working gratefully with Major League Volleyball, and I did a match in Omaha which set a U.S. record for most attended women's volleyball match in U.S. history. The environment was electrifying, you can only imagine. That had to be, on top of the Final Four, the 2 top moments of the year for volleyball for me.
I think it's cool to see how much they're investing in the leagues for women's volleyball, and they're really making an effort to make them like sustainable for the long run.
Lauren Carlini, who won the silver medal with Team USA in 2024, describes what having an American Pro Volleyball League means to her.
Like when I was younger, I feel like I always was looking up to whatever these college athletes, and that's how it has always been, and that's how I've known it. But now it's even on a larger scale of I get to look up to these professional athletes that are working every day because they really love volleyball and they get to keep playing it in the US.
8 of the 10 founding athletes of LOVB have competed in the Olympics for Team USA. Everyone watches women's sports, and the numbers prove it. NCAA women's volleyball just delivered its most watched season ever on ESPN. The regular season averaged 190,000 viewers, a 36% jump from 2024, with record growth among young adults and women watching. And the momentum only grew in the tournament. More than 1.3 billion minutes of volleyball were watched across ESPN platforms. Tournament viewership climbed 13% year over year, averaging over 660,000 viewers, while the regional rounds became the most watched in history. 4 tournament matches topped the 1 million viewer mark, another all-time record. The championship between Texas A&M and Kentucky averaged 1.4 million viewers and peaked at 1.7 million.
Aggies for the very first time are national champions.
Making it the second most watched NCAA women's volleyball title match ever. The takeaway? Women's college volleyball isn't just growing, it's becoming appointment television. Bigger audiences, bigger stages, and a sport that's reaching more fans than ever before.
For the championship. Just like last year, back-to-back on an ace for Texas. Your national champions, the Texas Longhorns.
Volleyball per se, the coverage has continued to grow. There is a way to watch whatever you want college related. Now, the level of which you're going to see a broadcast product, that's going to vary.
The Volleyball League of America was founded in 2019 by Vince Zanzucci, who is the Park Gilbert men's volleyball coach. Zanzucci says the broadcasts of the VLA have been a point of emphasis in recent years.
We have had some really high level, like the ESPN Plus, those broadcasts were really phenomenal volleyball and really great broadcasts. Rob Sinclair doing his job, doing the announcing and commentating. I mean, they were really fantastic. It would be great if we could get some more of that level, some more of that caliber, and I think that exposure would be really good as far as the broadcast goes.
Everything now is treated more and more like a professional broadcast. When you get to the highest level of college volleyball, everything is pro. From the people who work on the show behind the scenes to the broadcasters, it is at the same level as I would say you put on a Major League Baseball broadcast, the top producers, the talent, everything is at that level now.
I think America's really trying to prioritize professional volleyball now just because they see how many people are like getting on the wagon. Like there's a capacity of like everyone loves volleyball, but it's like we have to keep continuing to give these players opportunities.
It allows women, specifically when you're talking about the women's volleyball professional leagues, the two of them, Love and Major League Volleyball, to understand that people that you grew up with can go to your matches after college.
I've been around volleyball since like a very young age because my mom was a volleyball coach. And so I feel like my life has always just revolved around volleyball.
More exposure at the professional and collegiate level has led to more exposure at the youth level.
It's one of those things where it's a very mutually beneficial relationship. The more that's out there, the more people are seen, the more people like to be seen. Parents love to know that their kid is going to be on some stream.
The growth of the women's game has slowly led to the growth of the men's game.
So accessible for the younger ages. There's so many clubs, there's so many teams, there's so many opportunities at a very young age to get into it. And Title IX doesn't hurt as well when you think about how that's helped women's sports in a big way.
When the women's sport grows, the men's sport grows. And the women's sport is one of the biggest, women's sports in the country. And so there's, a bigger push to get men's volleyball in high school. So you're having this new generation of athletes, of students of the game kind of introduced to the sport.
Actually, it hasn't necessarily been the D1 teams that have jumped onto it as much as it has been the NAIA D2, D3 teams.
So what would it take to make men's volleyball popular at the Division I level?
When it comes to its popularity, unless some of those name brand schools like a Texas, like an Alabama or an Oregon adopt men's volleyball, you're not gonna get that same level of hype.
Chris Marlowe brought the juice in his call of the 2000 National Championship match.
Into the middle, Livingston. This could be it. Set Kulikowski. And she puts it away. Nebraska has made history.
When it comes to a place like Nebraska, the whole state is obsessed with the sport. There's a family-like tie to not just professionally in Omaha with some of the emergences of the 2 pro leagues that are in Omaha, but Nebraska. That is like, it's like the Beatles. Nebraska women's volleyball is the Beatles. If you go to one of their matches at home, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. And then if you travel or go to any of their away matches, they sell out wherever they go. The brand building they have done in that state is what sets them apart.
Harper Murray, who's sponsored by Adidas, was selected to serve as the stadium captain for the World Cup match between Colombia and Ghana. Times have changed since Chris Marlowe's electric calls in the national championship matches. Now broadcasters are choosing to let the action breathe a little bit more, and sometimes have an opinion of their own.
The viewers will tell me that, and what the viewers want is they want to be able to soak up there's such a power to the natural sound, and they want to be able to hear that. What they get from me is poignant stories along with the analysts that are timely. That's the key. We all have our stories, but when we throw those in is so important because we feel excited that we have a story that we want to show the audience. The athlete in certain sports has clock management. As a broadcaster, you got to know time, place, and opportunity. The play-by-play needs to take a side on some things. I think needs to have an opinion. Now, before it was like, I'm just going to be straight down the middle. You got to have attitude. You've got to have some sass. In a playful way, you've got to bring on entertainment.
So now that we know what volleyball broadcasters are focused on during matches, should you turn into Major League Volleyball or League One Volleyball?
I would say that graphically, that's only one part of it. Major League Volleyball has an edge. I think it's more understandable in terms of if you're a viewer and you're just tuning in, what exactly is going on? I just feel this better interpersonal connection with the broadcast. If I'm at home watching the presentation, the way things are given to me graphically, the times in which you throw in stories, that to me sticks out in why, in the sense of a broadcast presentation, I'm getting more out of Major League Volleyball than I am in love.
Competition is the best thing for it. If it was just LOVB comes out and does it their way and that's the only way, they're going to get kind of pigeonholed in what they are doing. I think MLB has a completely different perspective. I think that one of the big things is the individual investor be in control of their own product, right? And which is something that is good. I mean, you look at like kind of a capitalistic mentality, right? And both of them are kind of going at it.
The upcoming NCAA women's volleyball season is must-watch TV. The season gets started with Spikes Under the Lights, which is a 4-team tournament with a winner-take-all championship match with $1 million on the line. Harper Murray and other NCAA athletes will be eligible to play in the next LOVB season starting in early 2027. Roster rollouts have just begun this week. Carly Lloyd and Catherine Bowden have been 2 of the first players named for the LOVB LA roster, which will play its inaugural season in 2027.